Welcome back to Red Devils TV, everybody. And yes, it is official. Mason Mount joins Manchester United. And all I can say is I am absolutely ecstatic to see us sign a player in June. It's the first time in 4 years Manchester United have actually signed a player in 4 years in June, which is absolutely incredible. Leaf Boy, hi mate, how you doing? Nice to see you in the comments. And anyway, with Mason Mount, let's just get right into this video. So obviously this video is I was a bit late to the news. Obviously it was announced yesterday evening that Manchester United have officially signed Mason Mount. We've agreed a deal with Chelsea, £55 million for plus £5 million in add-ons. Mason Mount is reported to be on £250,000 a week, which can increase to £300,000 a week if certain criteria are met through add-ons. Plus, it's a 5-year deal plus a 1-year extension. So all I can say as a Man United fan is that I'm absolutely ecstatic. And personally, I am ecstatic because with Mason Mount, I do feel like that he is an exceptional signing. He's definitely an upgrade on what we currently have. But for me at the moment, I still rather prioritise a striker at the moment because United are in desperate need for a striker. It was made reported today that Sabitzer and Hag'S are going back to their previous clubs. So Sabitzer will be returning to Bayern Munich and Hag'S will be returning to Burnley. So now United only have one striker at the club, which is Anthony Martial, which, as we know, he's literally like leaving chocolate out in the hot sun. He melts everywhere. And if you want another one, he's like the resistance of a bowling ball catching a poppadom. Like, it's absolutely mental. But anyway, the chat is absolutely flowing. Joshua, evening everybody. Nice to see you, pal. Obviously, Leaf as well saying even. Simon Day saying, good evening, Dan. It's a pleasure as always. And Simon also says, how old is he? So Mason Mount is 24 years old and he has many years ahead of him. And personally with Mason Mount, I personally feel like that a change of scenery is what's going to increase Mason Mount and what's going to get him a much better player. I mean, Joseph here has turned around and said that Martial is literally a hospital patient and a part-time footballer. That's absolutely brilliant, mate. That's a brilliant comment. But with Anthony Martial, this is what I'm talking about, how I would rather prioritise a striker, as I personally feel like that's a position that United need to strengthen in a lot more. Like you look at Marcus Thuram, he's now gone to Inter Milan. He was a brilliant striker from Mönchengladbach in Germany, and he was a brilliant free signing. Obviously, we're still linked to Rasmus Højlund, but he's kind of the only striker we're now linked to. You can say that Harry Kane is out of the window for Manchester United. He's either staying at Spurs or going to Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. United are out of that equation, in my opinion. But anyway, let's just get right into the Mason Mount deals. And there is other breaking news. And if anything breaking news happens while we're live, obviously we'll discuss it. But this video is all about Mason Mount. So Mason Mount, what number will he get? So let me know in the comments down below what number you think Mason Mount will get. Personally, I think he'll get the number 19. And as I think that Varane reportedly is supposed to be getting the number 4, as now Phil Jones has officially left Manchester United, who did carry the number 4 shirt for many years at Manchester United. Now Raphael Varane has wore the number 19 for the last 2 seasons since joining Manchester United, but the reports are saying that Raphael Varane is going to receive a new number, which is the number 4, like he had at Real Madrid. So Mason Mount, I feel like the number 19 is kind of an attacking number. It might make sense because obviously you get the main numbers. It's kind of like the 18, your 17s, your 19s. These type of numbers are kind of the midfield type numbers. So for me, I personally feel like Mason Mount will definitely get this type of number. Let's see who's in the comments as well, saying that he's saying 19 and he's saying 24 as well. Joseph also saying should give him 19. I agree. And then Simon also says that youth is key. Erik ten Hag is building us on a solid foundations he's already laid within regards to the strikers that have left. You truly bothered? With Hag'S, no, because with Hag'S, obviously, he was a stopgap. He's kind of like when he's a rebound. You've broke up with misses. Cristiano Ronaldo, let's say this. Cristiano Ronaldo is your high school sweetheart. She's the girl you've wanted your entire high school life, the person you skipped class for, doing all that stuff. And then what happens? Bang, she goes out and ditches you for the captain of the football team in your school, and Ronaldo has now left you. That's what United were in. So what do? You don't want to look like a loser or an idiot going to the school prom. So you have to get some absolute munter who's like sat in the back of the classroom, who gets apples thrown at her head and stuff. And that was Wout Weghorst. He was literally a stopgap. And that might be horrible what I'm saying, but that's exactly how I describe Wout Weghorst. And he was literally just a stopgap, in my opinion. And that was the frustrating thing, because he did do very well, but again, he was limited to a certain potential, and that potential wasn't very high, and that's the thing. Red Devil Studio, nice to see you in the comments, mate. Yo, buddy. Oh, bro, what do you think about Mason Mount signing? I've not really spoke to you about it since that. And then Leafy Boy also saying that hand pink waving. So with Mason Mount, obviously, I think in the comments Rolling in Greens that the number 19 would suit Mason Mount the most, but you never know. Mason Greenwood could Mount get the number 11. I'm not too sure about that one, so maybe that. And for me, I feel like maybe even number 23, Luke Shaw, because Eric Bailey's leaving. And as we know that when we signed Eric Bailey, Luke Shaw used to have the number 3 in our shirts, and now he went to the number 23. So now Eric Bailey's leaving Manchester United. Maybe Luke Shaw will go back to the number 3, maybe number 23 for Mason Mount. I'm not too sure. The sky's the limit, but it is quite fun to guess numbers, in my opinion. But anyway, carrying on to the show is value for money. Did we get the value for money for Mason Mount? Because for me, I personally feel like we did. I feel like that I said on Twitter many times that if we pay anything over £60 million, then I think that's overspending for Mason Mount. But again, United needs to be prioritising a striker, in my opinion, and £60 million for being our first signing is a massive chunk out of the budget. And this really makes me hope to believe that United have got the higher budget, which is reported to be 120 to 150 million pounds. Because if we're spunking £60 million on Mason Mount straight away, then that is kind of a big hit, in my opinion. And that means we probably won't be able to get a Victor Osimhen or Dusan Vlahovic or maybe a Goncalo Ramos. So maybe that's where we will get someone like a Ramos Højlund. Anyway, let's see what the comments are saying. And the comments are also saying that, I'm guessing he means about Veghorst. Simon saying that he wasn't good enough. And Simon also saying, I feel like it's good business personally. As do I. I do feel like Mason Mount is going to be good value for money. And that's the thing, because he's only 24 years old. He's an English international. He's Champions League proven. He's actually won the Champions League with Chelsea in recent times. So I personally felt we're getting a good player in our hands. And it's not about Mason Mount being your desiring first choice midfielder like choice. For me, I think it's also about upgrading your squad. And I personally feel like Mason Mount is much better than Eriksen, Fred, McTominay, Donny van de Beek, everyone that we've currently got. So for me, definitely, Mason Mount is a great signing because he's better than what we currently have. We can definitely upgrade. And who knows? This is how Man City have built their foundation for many years. They've gradually got better and better and better, bringing in better players, and upgrading it as time's gone on. And that's just not Manchester City. You look at Liverpool, you look at the likes of Real Madrid, all these gigantic teams throughout Europe. This is how the solid foundation is. This is the basics, that you start off with your squad, you eventually upgrade and you get better players, you bring in better players, and that makes you a better squad. And this is what I think. But first of all, I want to talk about how Mason Mount actually fits in to Manchester United, and that's the next one I want to talk about. So how does Mason Mount fit into the starting 11? And I personally feel like he definitely slots into that Eriksen position, that number 8 or that second 10 almost, because what's great about Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes is that they're both equally as good as defensive work rate and attacking work rate, in my opinion. Mason Mount they kind of can interchange with each other. So if Bruno Fernandes is further from the pitch as he's helped defending a corner, and Mason Mount's further up the pitch to help start the counter attack, that's brilliant. And it's also vice versa. Bruno Fernandes could be more up the pitch and Mason Mount could be further back. And I personally feel like with Mason Mount, he's a great signing to be making. And he's only 24. He's got many years ahead of him of development. And I personally feel like £55 million plus only $5 million in add-ons, it kind of makes me think, did Chelsea want to sell him? And that's kind of what I'd say. Like, did Chelsea actually want to sell Mason Mount? Let's see the comments quickly. And Finlay and Nicholas Football Stuff saying Mason Mount is a devil. Nice to see you in the ones as always, pal. And Simon says that, yeah, he ticks all the boxes. And Leafy Boy also saying that, do you think he is going to be good or not when he starts playing? I do think that the fact that he is going to be involved in pre-season is going to give us a lot of advantages, because that's kind of where United kind of failed to shine straight away this season. Obviously, as we remember, we lost to Brighton 2-1 at the opening day of the season. We also lost 4-0 to Brentford the following game after. But then we went on to beat Liverpool 2-1 at Old Trafford. So I personally feel like having pre-season for new signings is very crucial to developing and nurturing players into your squad. And this is why managers, not just at Manchester United, throughout every club, whether you're in League 2, League 1, Champions League, the Spanish League, any club in the world, They want their new signings to be involved in pre-season because it allows you to work on your communication, your relationships, and it helps you actually develop and see where's the perfect slot. Because if you remember last season for Man United, Tyrell Malacia was the only player involved of pre-season last season. Eriksen wasn't involved. Martinez, Antony, Casemiro, none of them were involved. And if you saw, obviously, also Garnacho wasn't involved due to disciplinary issues. So I personally feel like that with this comment that Leaf Boys put, that with Mason Mount being good when he starts playing, I do think it'll take him time because I do feel like that he has played for last year in a very inconsistent side in Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel did get the best out of Mason Mount, in my opinion. And I do also believe that with Mason Mount, he's going to reunite himself and kind of resurrect himself. That and remember the player that he actually was when he was under Thomas Tuchel. And I feel like under who's recently been Conte, sorry, that he has kind of not Conte. I'm thinking of Spurs. Who am I thinking of? That's it, Graham Potter. I don't know where I got Conte from. But no, with Mason Mount, I do feel like that with the way Potter's played recently, especially this season, Chelsea have been in a disarray this entire season. And you can I kind of relate it to how Marcus Rashford was last season, because we saw with Marcus Rashford, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got sacked, and that's kind of like the same with Thomas Tuchel with this season. They started off all right, obviously drawing with Spurs and stuff like that. Obviously, you've got the famous Conte versus Tuchel with the handshake earlier this season. But then Mason Mount has a very, very successful season. Tuchel got sacked, and they brought in Graham Potter, who had no foundation. And what happened then, Mason Mount, kind of like how when Ralph Rangnick came in charge for Manchester United, certain players just didn't agree with the new manager. And personally, for me, I feel like Mason Mount has kind of been at fault for that. And I personally feel like that we're under a new settings, a new club, fresh start, we are going to see a very improved Mason Mount. And it might give him time. But this is why I'm thankful that we actually didn't overspend on this, because I do feel like, obviously, he's only got 1 year left in his contract. And I do feel like the perfect price would have been probably between 45 to 50 million, probably the correct price for Mason Mount, in my opinion. So for me, I personally feel like with Mason Mount, that with the whole, I'm trying to think now, with the new scenery, I personally feel like we're going to see a much better Mason Mount, and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Joshua says that I agree. It'll be great to have Mount in pre-season. Hopefully, we get a new goalkeeper in pre-season also. And I kind of want to talk about that as well. Obviously, this is the Mason Mount show. But obviously, United currently have less than 4 hours to sign David De Gea on this new contract. Otherwise, tomorrow, he will be going on a free transfer, I believe. Because isn't it the 1st of July tomorrow? Or am I thinking, am I wrong? Let me double check 1 second. It is the 1st of July tomorrow. So, yeah, the transfer window does open tomorrow. Obviously, the domestic transfer window for England opened on the 14th of June. And that's obviously for deals to be done in the Premier League. That's why the Mason Mount deal has been done. But now United can now start exploring outside of Europe. But I made this point on my show a few weeks ago, that don't be surprised that United delay the kit release and then within a week we sign a new player. And that's probably what's going to happen. Luca, AFC, Arsenal fan, nice to see you, mate. Luca, as a neutral, I just want to quickly ask you, how do you rate the Mason Mount deal? Because obviously he's going to be much better than Kai Havertz. So how do you think Mason Mount's going to do for Man United? But anyway, moving on to the next thing, and that is obviously how that's the wrong one. That's how does Mason Mount fit in starting 11? Obviously, we kind of already discussed this, but I want to go into more depth about it, because obviously Mason Mount is very good at progressive carries. He's very good at his ball retentions, and he's very good at ball percentage with passing percentage. With Mason Mount, I personally feel like that he's very great in the progression of building up in play. And I feel like that's what's been brilliant about Bruno Fernandes, and where we've seen kind of brilliant glimpses of Eriksen at times, is that deep playmaker. And as we know, Mason Mount won't back out of a challenge. He does like to get stuck in, and I've seen that with Chelsea. He has been in a few scraps at times where you see him shoving and pushing against the opposition players. So definitely the passion is there, and he isn't afraid to back out of a challenge. And that's where I've had my issues with Eriksen this season, as I've called him a defensive liability many times this season. So definitely for me with Mason Mount, I personally feel like he's definitely an upgrade on Eriksen, and that's kind of where the confusion is. Is Eriksen or Mason Mount going to be the starting player? But considering Eriksen has kind of dipped off since his injury, I definitely want Mason Mount to be starting in our team. Let's see what the comments are saying. And let's see what Luke says. Chelsea needed to sell Mount to make cash, to make the cash money. And he also says that he's a steady player, undoubtedly. And Luca also goes to say, I think he might do well at United. Something tells me, I don't know why, Ten Hag type of manager profile gets the best out of Mount. If you get Mount what he was at Derby or when he came to Chelsea first time, then yeah, I agree on that sense. And with this comment here, that Mason Mount, obviously, he's kind of been a generational talent, almost is kind of how we describe it. Is that with Mason Mount, is that obviously he graduated through the Chelsea Academy, did get a few games off the bench, and then went on Derby on loan for a season and did very, very well. So I do feel like Mason Mount is getting a lot of experience, and I am looking forward to seeing him in a United shirt. Joseph also says that Eriksen is literally a hologram in transition. I agree, mate. That's a brilliant comment. That is absolutely brilliant. If you've seen, what's it called? There was this like old show on like Dave. If you're in the UK, you'll know this show. Red Dwarf. That's it, called Red Dwarf, and there was this hologram in it. Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. It was such a funny show. If you have like stupid like UK humor, Red Dwarf is an absolute brilliant show, and there's a hologram in there, and that just reminded me of that comment there. And Luke is saying that you got a decent signing. Eriksen is old. Eriksen old though, and he also says that needs to be careful with his health. Exactly, we don't want him having a cardiac arrest. Finley saying Mason Mount will fit in great. He's now a Red Devil. Exactly, mate. Finley and Nicholas, obviously. Mason Mount is going to fit in great, in my opinion. And what's great about Mason Mount as well is that he also plays in multiple positions. He can play in the number 8 role. He can play as a number 10. He can play on the right wing, and he also can play on the left wing. So this brings great rotation options that we now get in a more diverse player, a more utility player that can play in multiple positions. Obviously, he is a primary and midfielder, but it's good to see that he can play in multiple positions. And this is where I think United have kind of gone wrong. We've kind of got specialists in certain positions, but can't really play in multiple positions. Like you look at the likes of, I can only name 3 players in the United squad that can play multiple positions, and that's obviously Luke Shaw playing left back and left centre back, Marcus Rashford for striker and left winger, and probably Bruno Fernandes that can drop in deep at times. But apart from that, I can't name another player at Manchester United that can play in multiple positions. So this is why I'm actually more excited to see how Mason Mount fits into this Manchester United side. Luca also says that I reckon Eriksen will play one more year, then retire early. Maybe. I mean, he might even go back to Denmark. That's also, I think that is a possibility. He did start his career off at Denmark before he did go to Tottenham. So definitely Eriksen. I do think that one more year. I mean, he is on a 3-year deal for Manchester United. He's got 2 years left. So maybe you're onto something there. Maybe we could get in a bit of cash for him there. And Simon also says that more versatile than a Swiss Army knife. Good simile, that one. And let's see here. And I want to kind of do something here that depends on how Mason Mount does fit in. How many goals and assists does Mason Mount get? And quickly, just before, obviously, we go on to this last bit, is that if you are new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe and like the stream as well. Obviously, we are going to start doing more live streams again. I have had a few technical issues with my laptop and stuff, but now we are back up and running, and we are going to do more live streams as usual. But yeah, make sure you subscribe if you are new. We've seen some new faces in the comments tonight. But anyway, back to Mason Mount and how many goals and assists will he score? And personally, for me, I think it all depends on who progress up the field more. And that's between him and Bruno Fernandes. Personally, I'd rather see Mason Mount go up forward more, because it seems that Bruno Fernandes, he gets very frustrated and he feels like he's forced to hit long balls. He's forced to hit long shots. And I want to see a much more keep it basic Bruno, where that he does these quick 1-2 passes. You see how good Bruno Fernandes is in the transition. And I feel that that's where we're going to see the best out of Bruno Fernandes. And plus, we've seen Bruno Fernandes play that deep line maker role at times as well, when Weghorst has played as a number 10 and Bruno Fernandes played next to Casemiro. So maybe that's something that we'll see interchange throughout pre-season. So I am looking forward to that. But I'll ask the comments quickly now. I'm going to say we're going to do throughout the entire season, not just Premier League, but throughout the entire season. I personally feel like if you can say to Mason Mount, if he can get, let's say, 17 goal contributions in all competitions, whether it's goals and assists, I would say that's a successful first season as Manchester United, because we don't know what position he's going to play. He could hit the ground on fire, or he could do what Darwin Núñez has done, kind of have some successful periods, but also very inconsistent at times. And I hope not, because obviously you want every signing to work out. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen in football. Let's see what the comments are saying. That hopefully let's see what you're saying. And Leaf Boy says, I think he will get 12 goals and assists. Simon says 8 goals and 6 assists. Leafy Boy says 8 assists and 6 goals. And Joseph also goes to say that Bruno being very poor in front of goal this season, but Mount is a good box operator. So I think Bruno can get more assists, but Mount will probably get more goals. And that's a great way of viewing it. I personally think it's not about who's better than other, who's going to score more goals. It allows the pressure off Bruno Fernandes, or it allows the pressure off Mason Mount, that maybe one game Bruno Fernandes is the playmaker and Mount is the midfielder running into the box, or vice versa, where Bruno Fernandes is running into the box and Mason Mount's the more creative player. So that's the way we could look at it. But definitely, I am looking forward to seeing this Mason Mount deal. But I'm just quickly looking on Twitter here, and it seems that we have no breaking news right now about David De Gea or anyone like that. I have mentioned that Mason Mount's new deal is a 5-year deal with a 1-year extension with £250,000 per week, with it possibly, after certain bonuses are met, that he can go up to £300,000 a week. So definitely, I am looking forward to seeing how Mason Mount is intellected and is it engraved into this Manchester United side. And I do think he's going to be very, very good. So anyway, thank you for everyone that's tuned in tonight. Make sure you leave a like on the stream, subscribe if you are new, and obviously we do daily content, whether it's YouTube shorts, normal videos, or live streams. So yes, I hope you like the new thumbnail as well, because I've worked really hard trying to figure out a new design that we can do for the thumbnails to make it more professional, as we want to take this channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and want to become more professional and get bigger and bigger as the team goes on, getting a better community. And thank you to everyone who's commented tonight who is a part of that community. So thank you everyone who's tuned in tonight. I really appreciate it. Leaf Boy, thank you for liking and subs. You're more than welcome. If you want to get involved in the channel, if you want to be a part of the live stream, message me on Twitter. My Twitter is @RedDevilsTVMU. So you can join in. If you want to send me a DM and join on the live stream and have your say, you're more than welcome to, because United is the realest channel on YouTube, and everyone has an opinion, whether you're a City fan, whether you're a United fan, whether you want De Gea in, if you want De Gea out. Everyone has an opinion, and that's what Red Devils TV is all about. So if you're interested, get in contact. I don't buy, and even if you don't want to show your face on camera, you can obviously just have your camera turned off and just answer the questions anyway. But anyway, thank you everyone who's watched, and I will see you all probably tomorrow for another video. So yeah, thank you for watching.